me fall. They'll let me fall. So we were wondering the same thing.
I don't believe that for a minute. She was impeccable. I mean, think about what it's like to be an athlete, to be just normally walking, and here she's doing all these beautiful routines. It's precision, it's athleticism, it's speed, it's power. And then you wear those tight little numbers. How do you get in that?
That's a different question. Why don't we talk about you a little bit? So you're really, you paved the way for all of this to happen. And you're really you're the reason why we're here today. People like you, people who are great athletes and then became activists for wanting to have other girls and the next generation have more opportunities and more things that they could be able to do, to join in school like you had. And things that you didn't have but have more.
The greatest thing that you can ever have in life, which as you start to get older and you've kind of laid the groundwork, is when a young person actually appreciates what you did. I say this kind of tongue in cheek, but when I didn't realize it, we were both young when we were Olympians. I'm still the youngest Olympic basketball player in male or female for the United States. When we won the silver, I was a senior in high school. You were 16 when you won the Olympic gold?
I was a junior in high school, and you know what? I learned a lot from skating, and when I go around now, I go to a lot of rinks to practice because I travel a lot, and all the young kids want to know, like, do you think I'll be able to make it to the Olympics? What do I need to do to make it to the Olympics? And what I tell them is, you don't have to worry about the Olympics. If you love what you do, if you're having fun, you'll make it there. But skating and sports in general aren't about making it to the Olympics, or it's great if you can play in the WNBA or something like that, but you learn all these lessons every single day when you go to practice. It's every day. It's not just the end goal, it's the journey, which I'm sure the Girl Scouts teaches you a lot about. Is that correct? Yeah.
Everybody has their own story. Each of you have your own story that's very uniquely personal to you. So I look back on my time. I'm from New York City. I was a poor kid from a one-parent family growing up in New York. I used to take the A train by myself, Far Rockaway, 50 minutes, and change the trains in Manhattan and go to Harlem. So can you imagine being like this white girl, like at 13 years old, strolling into Rucker Park, and these guys would kind of look at me like, what are you doing here? And I kind of talked like this at the time, like, how you doing? But I had to pay $2,000 when I started working for ESPN so you could actually understand me. So now I'm articulate and I talk like this. But to be able to go into a place that's uncomfortable, there was a man that changed my life. I don't have a story of a woman that changed my life. I was watching TV one day, and everybody called me a tomboy, and you never make anything of yourself, and why are you playing in the schoolyard, and why are you hanging out with black kids, and this and that. And then I heard this guy on TV one day, and he says, I'm the champion of the world. I beat Joe Frazier, like I beat George Foreman, like I beat Sonny Liston back in 1964. I'm too pretty not to be the champion of the world. I am the greatest of all times. Who is that? Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali is my hero. He is my vision, and I just cannot believe I get to utter these words. He's been my lifelong friend. And what Muhammad Ali taught me at a young age was to fear nobody and respect everybody. And he said, Nancy, go through life remembering this: me, we. If you're a better me, you're going to be a better we. And before I turn this little part over to Sarah, I want you to remember these words because I have it in my wallet. I've had it since I was little. I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadow. If I fail, if I succeed, at least I'll live as I believe. No matter what they take from me, they can't take away my dignity, because the greatest love of all is happening inside of me. You must love you first. If you don't love you, why should I love you? That is what makes her a champion, because she worked on her. That's what helped make me a champion, is to work on me. You must be confident, whether it's being an astronaut, being Secretary of State, being the President of the United States, you have to, in any situation, you must be confident and you must believe in you. And that I know to be true because I was the youngest basketball player ever, the oldest at 39 in the WNBA, and then the oldest at 50 in the WNBA. Okay? I mean, that's love. She said love. I love this game. You love what you do, and you'll be anything you want to be.
I don't even know how to add to that. I mean, that's what it's all about. It's about respecting yourself. It's about respecting others. It's about being true to yourself. It's about finding something you love. And, you know, I love to skate. I started to skate when I was about 3. There was a rink nearby our house. That's how I first got involved because I was the 4th child. There were 6 kids in my family, which for our town was a lot. And so my mom just kept having kids, and I had 2 older brothers, and they played hockey. And I knew that hockey wasn't for me because I didn't like to get hit, and I didn't want to hit anybody else. I needed a sport that wasn't contact. And so when I'd go to the rink and my brothers would put on all their equipment and get on the ice, I saw some other kids figure skating. And I said, that's something that I want to do, and that's something I can do. So I tried it a few times, and I loved it. So every time they went to the rink, I wouldn't just sit there. I can now go on the ice with them. So my mom would line us all up from oldest to youngest. And since I was the youngest, she'd put my skates on last. Because there's a whole thing, you have to put the equipment on my brother, and it would take her so long to do my brother's. So by the time I was 5, I learned how to do my skates myself. And so she said, that's the first time that I knew you were really serious about it because you wouldn't even wait for me to finish putting on your brother's equipment. No one else in my family had really skated that seriously. So and my parents didn't know that much about it, but I liked to do it, and they really supported it. And it's kind of, when I went to school, no one else skated. It was kind of, I think that's what makes it a little different from a team sport, is that I always was a little bit of an outlier. That it was always something different, and I always felt that I was a little different than everyone else because sometimes I would even go to school in my skating clothes when I was younger because, you know, I didn't have time to change, and because there were 3 kids that were older than me that my mom was taking care of, we'd forget to put stuff in the bag the night before. And after I won, I realized, you know what, it wasn't so bad spending my whole life being different because now everybody is, they watch me on TV, and I had accomplished a great thing by being the #1 skater in the world, and suddenly all the kids at school who I'd felt so different from and questioned maybe I shouldn't keep skating or maybe I should do what everybody else is doing, suddenly they respected it and they thought it was so great because I think that they finally understood it and they understood what I was doing. So that was kind of, it took my whole life up until that point to see that because everything changed so much, but it reinforced the notion of what you were talking about before. We're saying, you know, you believe in yourself, respect yourself. And that's what I was doing, and I always felt a little bit, you know what, I feel so different. I don't really feel like everyone else, and it made me a little more shy. I wasn't always I wasn't the first one to speak up in school. I was the last one to tell anyone that I was skating or that I was going to a competition because I was a little bit embarrassed by it because it's a weird thing to do. Who puts on stockings and then you put on a little spandex dress and you go out and try not to fall on slippery ice? We're on a blade that's less than 1/4 of an inch thick, and we're trying to do triple jumps and land on one foot. And it's not normal. It's not something that everyone else was doing at the time.
So think about this. There's success everywhere. You at your age, you have to master the things that take no talent. So think about that. It doesn't take talent to be smart. It takes energy and effort. Like if we had a foot race right now and I ran faster than you, that doesn't mean you're not fast. It means I have a max and you have a max. If you're smarter than me, it doesn't mean I'm stupid. It means you have a max and I have a max. So we all have that in life. So we're talking initially about having that inner self-confidence. But what we have right here, right now, this is a team, because like each one, teach one. Each one, teach one. And that is mentorship when you pass it down. Because I had a friend growing up. I've had a lot of friends growing up, and one of these guys that I met when I was young, which is really kind of cool, their names were the Jacksons, like, woo-hoo, right? And what I learned from these guys is not only love and kindness and taking judgment, but staying genuine to who you are. But you saw the discipline of what they did and the kindness. And the one thing that I remember them always saying is, you know, you come in equal and you leave equal. So this is not morbid, but that little hash mark, right? That's your legacy. And a legacy is not what you did. A legacy is what you leave behind for other people. So, like, I hope that part of my legacy has been able to affect Sarah, even though we have not been around each other, and we're different athletes in different sports and different ages. There's love and kindness and respect. Even though, like, there's a difference in ages right now, we are now a team for the rest of your life. You will have us, whether it's Twitter or Facebook or email, or if you ever have a question, we will be your go-to girls. We're your glue. And just to be able to know that, and then one day you're going to take somebody under your wing, and you're going to do the same thing, and you're going to go, remember that old lady that was in Washington? She said, but that's each one teach one. See, I get excited to be around, you know, young superstars, because we get to bond. Like, she doesn't know, like, I grew up in Far Rockaway. She grew up in Manhasset, right? Great Neck.
Oh,
and my
was
family's
good.
from Great Neck. My father's side of my family all grew up in Great Neck. So, I mean, I know that area, you know, all too well. But you guys, I can tell you this. I can promise you this. You can be anything and do anything that you want to do if you believe in you. You must. It's not an option. Confidence comes from repetition. When you do something over and over and over and over and over again, you become successful. She didn't just get out there and skate one time. I didn't just play basketball one time. We committed our lives to this. I didn't get up and play basketball at 5 in the morning or 4 in the morning. These guys have to get up and find rink time. Am I wrong or right?
And it's cold.
4, 5 in the morning?
It's very cold. It's cold out there. For practice, we don't wear those little dresses.
I want to see pictures. I don't believe it.
How old are you? You're 17. Are you all of you 17? Oh, 14.
I'm 13.
Oh, you're 13.
Yeah, I'm 13. Ooh, we're friends.
So when I won 10 years ago, you were only 3 years old. You were 7, so you might have watched it. You remember it. So when I was, and probably what you saw in the bio that you said you had read, was that I was 4th place after the first program. We have to skate 2 programs at the Olympics. And to make the Olympic team, that we took 3 women from this country. And I just made the 3rd spot. So I made the team by the skin of my teeth. Then going into the Olympics, I was 4th after the first program, which is great. 4th of every skater in the whole world is pretty good, right? Well, it's not as good as you might think, because it's right on the edge of being good but not being able to win. Nobody in the history of our sport has ever gone from 4th place to winning. No one before me. So I knew, and you know, my whole skating career, I felt that people were saying, you can't do it, you won't do it, you can't win, just because of the way things were, because it's a judged sport, and there's usually someone who skates better, and even if you do skate better, maybe they'll be ahead in the program before you, and the judges will like their music better or something like this. So I said, you know what? I'm not going to listen to what anybody says. And my whole life, people are telling me, you can't do it, you can't do it, you can't do it. And I knew I could do it. I knew my whole life, before I ever made the team, I knew I can do it, I can do it. And you know what? I went out and I won, and it turned out I ended up winning the whole competition, the first person ever to go from 4th place to 1st. And it was because I knew I could do it, and I didn't listen to everyone who said you can't do it. And I thought, you know what, that's a really great lesson that I'm going to take through for the rest of my life. I never told anyone that, you know what, you're wrong, I can do it, because I knew it myself. I knew I can do it. And afterwards, I felt so good because I felt suddenly I didn't have to tell anyone that I could do it. I showed everyone, you know what, I can do it.
I just love listening to those stories because you're going to have, first of all, people have the right to tell you what you can be. They don't have the right to tell you what you cannot be. If you're around somebody that's telling you what you cannot be, boom, make your inner circle a little bit tighter. You know, sometimes you get, more out of less. You don't have to have like 100 people around you. You just have to have the people around you that care, that support you, and that believe in you. Because I'll tell you this, no matter what you do, and you represent, the Girl Scouts and Girls Inc., and I've worked with both, we probably both have worked with both organizations. That word, that brand, that means excellence. There's a reputation. Like I tell my son TJ, who's 17, every day when he leaves the house, I go, TJ, I love you, protect the family name. Don't do anything stupid, because it's going to be in the newspaper, and it's going to say, TJ Klein, son of Basketball Hall of Famer Nancy Lieberman. I said, don't drag me into your mess. And every day he laughs at me, but I say, TJ, protect the family name. You are wearing these shirts. Protect the name. You are wearing these vests. You've earned the right to protect the family name. You are skating for the United States of America. I am playing for the United States. Protect the family name. Don't do anything stupid, because we are not in control of our reputations, but you are always in control of your character. It's yours, and you own it. So it doesn't matter what anybody says. They can't take away your character. And that means you have skin in the game. And that's the most, when I was coaching in Detroit, the one person in a really weird way that I wanted to meet, and I've met everybody from, presidents to Jacksons to Warren Buffett, everybody. I wanted to meet Eminem because I dug this guy because I wish I could rap and tell you how I feel. Can I get a little help here? No. But, he says in one of his songs, I am who I say I am. You guys know which one I'm talking about? I am who I say I am. You don't get the right and privilege to tell me who you think I am. I can do anything. She can do anything. She can win as many medals. She can come from 4th to go to 1st. In 1974, my first USA team, I was just told recently, I was at the Basketball Hall of Fame with Robin Roberts and Pat Summitt, women's basketball, last weekend. But I'm the only player in history who has been Pat Summitt's teammate, played against her in college, and played for her on the USA team. So people don't even remember Pat Summitt played. I mean, I was 15 years old when she was, 19. And so can you imagine, like, from 15 to 19, that's like eternity. I'm like, Grandma. She's like, I am 19. I'm like, I'm sorry. But, to be able to learn from these people who had an effect on my life and to see their greatness. I knew Dorothy Hamill for many, many years, one of the great skaters, and Peggy Fleming.
Yeah,
right?
Peggy was very involved in getting Title IX passed. She was one of the original women who stood there, who went and campaigned on Capitol Hill. So, I come from, after I won, I was welcomed into this small sisterhood of women who had won before me. And Peggy was one of them, and suddenly I felt, as probably you feel as part of the Girl Scouts or Girls Inc., suddenly I represented a brand greater than myself. I wasn't just representing myself and my name, it was women's figure skating. And I felt, I don't want to do anything to now that I've been accepted into their group and their friends, I want them to also respect me and my character, and that's not going to be just what I say, it's going to be what I do. And I think that's a big thing for young girls growing up. It's not just what you say, it's what you do. It's the choices you make.
To add to that, and the fact that I worked for ESPN for 28 years doing basketball, and they really taught us how to communicate and ask questions, and you can elicit the response you want. Like we work on really using positive trigger words. So we have the right as mentors to build you up, to encourage you, to let you think you can be anything you want to be. So I'm coaching men right now. I work for the Dallas Mavericks, and I was hired 3 years ago to be the first woman to ever coach a men's NBA level team. So I could have went, okay, they're big, they're not going to listen to me. But because we have spent our lifetime, go ahead.
Wait, your son is 17 and 6'8"?
My son is 17.
Oh my gosh. So these guys, though, didn't even faze you
No.
because she has a 17-year-old son who's 6'8".
Who sits there in the house and goes, pumpkin, breakfast? I said, I am not pumpkin, okay? I'm your mother. How do you want your eggs?
So what happened the first time you went to the Mavericks?
Okay, so here I am. I was doing the Today Show, and Amy on the Today Show, the host, says on TV, she goes, well, Nancy, how are you going to be able to coach guys? How are they going to be able to listen to you? I said, Amy, we've been telling guys what to do our whole life. It's going to be normal. If they want to get to the NBA, I have to earn their respect, but they better earn my respect too. So you have to set the tone immediately. You can be firm, but you can be fair. I am funny. I believe I'm funny. By nature, I think humor, don't you want to be around people that are fun and make you, like everybody here, let me see your teeth. If you don't have teeth, no judgment, really. But see, a smile, doesn't it make you feel good to smile? Don't you like want to just be around people that make you smile? And it doesn't cost anything. It doesn't matter if we're rich or poor or Olympians. We just want, there's enough people we're around every day, right, that we actually don't like. But we have to be around them and go, oh, you are my best friend, don't call me. And, right, call me, maybe, never. But that's part of life. Everything you do in life, people, if you work hard, like Sarah said, and you're dedicated, and you have a good spirit about you, and you serve people, Muhammad Ali says, service to others is the rent you pay for your time here on earth. Oh, service to others. What can I do for you? I don't want anything in return. How can I help you today? Something random, like hold a door for somebody, or pick up trash, or go, you're beautiful. You're so pretty. Something kind has such an effect on other people.
You know, I found it. So I have nieces, and my 7-year-old nieces, I've noticed that when you, if one kid's not being nice to another kid, if the other kid says something very nice about something else or something positive, the bullying kid doesn't always know where to go. They get confused, they get lost, because suddenly the other kid's not afraid, and the other kid's not going to talk badly about another kid. Always say nice things about other people. That's what I found, and that you start at a young age, they then learn this pattern too.
I love it.
Notice that?
But she's absolutely right. See, bullies are insecure, so they're trying to. We have a thing I'm going back to my basketball camp tonight. So we have a thing. It's called action reaction. If I go like that, does that make you uncomfortable? Yeah. Okay, I have the basketball, and I go, boom, and most people react. So I am the action, and she was the reaction. We want them to react to us. So in life, if there's a bully or you sense this or you're aware of your surroundings, a bully, they fuel on that negative. And if you go, you are really, how are you today? How was class? Sarah just said it, they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So would you guys...
And then they'll stop bothering you too.
Yeah.
That's what I found. They'll go try and figure out something else to do.
Could you guys do us a favor? Could you go just take the mic and go around and tell us 2 great things about you, 2 things that you really like about you,
Oh, I like this guy.
okay? And then you can just throw 1 thing you really like about me in there.
Or if you want, after we do this, they should all be able to ask a question.
Okay.
So
2 great
after, yeah,
things
2 great things.
that you like about yourself. No, 2. I'm killing you.
I like my creativity and the way I can communicate with other people.
That's great.
I love meeting new people, and I love my personality.
Oh, I like that too.
I like helping others, and I like how I can make people laugh.
What was the first one?
I like helping others.
Helping others?
I think I'm a good leader, and I'm really passionate about all the things I do.
I think that I'm funny. This is me. And I like to teach.
My artistic ability and personality. Don't make me come after you. No, I'll
Very-
throw hands. That's great.
You know, golf is now an Olympic sport, 2016. It is. Yes, golf was, Rio's going to be the first one.
They took softball away
there
from
you
golf.
go.
There's your chance.
And you can play on the LPGA tour, so. Golf is hard. I've learned a lot about golf because also, you know what? You need to focus for a very long period of time, and it also requires a lot of strategy and math because the angles of the hills and where they change where they put the holes. Yes.
I think I'm very motivated.
I need one more.
Oh, I thought there was 2. I'm
Oh,
motivated.
motivated. Okay, there we go.
I like the effort that I put into things, and I like the way that I want to communicate.
Sure. So, can we do a fun little drill? Okay, just for concentration. Okay, so I'm gonna have my hand here. So when my right hand crosses my left hand, can you clap? Okay, ready? Everybody. So when it crosses, what do? That was weak. Okay, one more time. Ready? Okay, ready? Okay, so now I'm gonna go do this again. You ready? What happened? Ladies? What happened? Okay, ready? Okay, I'm gonna do it again now. Ready? Okay, so you gotta concentrate. Ready? Okay, here I go again. You know, again, like with teams, like we try to make every day a little bit fun, especially with my guys. Like these are NBA guys. Some of these guys I had 5 millionaires on my team, and I was like, why did I buy lunch? These guys have a lot of money. Some of them are trying to get to the NBA. Some were first round, but at the core, they're all really good people, and you know, we're trying to build them up each and every day. So we have some guys who are trying to make it. We have some guys who are second round draft picks. Some are free agents, and then some are those millionaires who already signed their contracts. So it's a hodgepodge of people. So we have this thing with the Texas Legends, which was the Mavs D-League team, and we became the first D-League or NBA team, expansion team, first-year team to ever make the playoffs. So, you know, Chick coaching, Chick can win. You know how that goes, coming from, fourth to first. Okay, so we had a thing that every day, because I had big, tough guys, so we would go like this, even if you were mad at me, and we'd hand hug. Just a little thumb, because we didn't want people to think, what an guys hugging her all the time. So we'd go, so you could be so mad at me, but if I walked up to you and I was like, you know, you didn't blah, 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 and nobody knew. So we were going to have more touches, physical touches than any team, because we were going to be there in good and bad with each other. There's going to be great days, there's going to be tough days that you slip on the ice or school or whatnot. The other thing is that we would speak it, you're going to say it, you're going to hear it, you're going to be it. And I'm going to give you an example, and you're going to laugh. Pat was my coach in 1977 on the USA team. Holly Warlick, the woman who now just took over at the University of Tennessee, she's now the head coach because Pat just retired. She is all country, and I am all city slicker from New York. So we're walking to eat one day, and I'm going to morph into how I really talk. And I'm like this, I'm like, yo, like, Holly, man, look at that car over there. And she says, that's nice. You know, she's like, country, that's nice, Nancy. I'm like, it's good. Yeah, like people in my neighborhood, we steal stuff like that. That's pretty. Uh-huh. And she's like, what? I go, nothing, just kidding. And she goes, what kind of a car is it? I said, I don't know. Let me take a look. So I went over and I looked at this convertible, this chocolate brown, gorgeous car. And I go, it says Mercedes. It says Mercedes-Benz. She goes, it's a Mercedes? I go, oh yeah, I'm going to have me 2 or 3 of them. And she goes, you're poor. I said, why you have to tell me I'm poor? You're supposed to be telling me I'm going to be successful. Okay, so we had this conversation. We go in, we see Pat. She's in the lunch area. And I go, Pat, I saw a Mercedes-Benz out there. And she looked at me like, are you that dumb? It's a Mercedes-Benz. And I was like, it's not a Mercedes? She goes, no. I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to have one anyway. And she goes, whatever. I found a picture of a Mercedes my freshman year at Old Dominion in a magazine, and I taped it to my mirror, and every day I would brush my teeth, and I would be like, I'm going to have to be one of them. You know, and that's an expensive car. When I turned pro, the first car was a Mercedes-Benz, because it's like I had seen it. It was like I had believed it, and then I was it. And not that life should be about material, but it, you know, if you want to be a doctor, or if you want to be an astronaut, or if you want to be an Olympian, you got to believe it, you got to see it, you got to say it, you got to be it. And during the season, we were, every huddle, Legends playoffs. Every time we were in a group setting, it was Legends playoffs. We had said playoffs so many times that when we made it to the playoffs, everybody was like, oh my gosh, how did they do it? We expected it. Sarah said 20 minutes ago about mindset. It's a mindset, and it's your mind. And you have to believe in that.
You guys ever see the movie Dinner for Schmucks? Yeah? You know, it's a mind control, and one of the characters had to explain to the other guy, he might have mind control over you, but you have something better, you have brain control. It's all on how you think, right? And that was the whole end of the movie. Right? So that's the turning point when he thought, you know what? Because my brain is just as good. I can do it. You have to believe in it.
You guys have questions before? I know we're sort
What
of
was your
winding
favorite
down.
part of today? Did you enjoy hearing everyone speak about their experiences with women's sports and sports in general and how it's changed their lives?
What are you saying about us? Our panel here? He's like, no. No, we're just, I'm just messing.
Yeah.
Any questions? Any questions?
You guys have given us a lot of good advice, but like when you were like our age and younger, like what did you think? Like how did you think about your future?
You know, I'm not that much older than you guys, but quite a bit, enough. When I knew that when I was younger that boys played hockey and that women were starting to play hockey, and my mom wanted me to play hockey because she said that I could get a scholarship to college. and because women were just starting to get scholarships if they had joined sports. But I knew that I was going to stay with figure skating because that's what I liked, and you know, it worked out for me. But it wasn't until I didn't realize how I was born into such a different era when I was named the Women's Sportswoman of the Women's Sports Foundation has this Sports Woman of the Year award that they give out, and so they gave it to me, and I was a junior in high school, and I was talking to my social studies teacher, and she said, "What are you doing tomorrow?" And I said, I'm the Sportswoman of the Year from the Women's Sports Foundation. And she told me a story about how when she was in high school, and this was, I had to have tutoring at least once a week because I was traveling a lot for competitions, so I'd miss class. And so I'd gotten to know her very well by this point, and she was very supportive of my competitions in skating, and she said, you know, when I was in high school, she said, all I wanted to do was to be a runner. So I joined the men's track team, but I couldn't compete with them, and I wasn't really allowed to travel with them. She says, but I could practice with them. And all I wanted to do was be part of it. And she says, and it wasn't until after I graduated that they had changed the rules in school. And I couldn't imagine how when she went to school, she didn't have any of these opportunities. So for me, you know, I'm brought up that all kids can play anything. Like, who was it, Laurel was saying that her daughter said, oh, I didn't know men played basketball. So I was about your age, you're 17, when she said this, and I couldn't believe that she wanted to be part of the track team and she couldn't. That we can't go back to a world where women aren't given the same opportunities. If they want to do something, they should be able to. So after that, when I was your age, I thought, you know what, I want to be more involved in how the decisions are made by a few people who are going to affect a lot of people. I just finished writing a book, actually, so I'm the 7th American Ladies Olympic champion. So there were 6 before me, and you know, Nancy, when I won, you watched me on TV, and apparently, I think half the country had watched me win. And suddenly my life had changed. I went from being a kid who practiced and went to public high school to being on the cover of the Wheaties box and on the Campbell soup can and meeting famous people and sitting next to Celine Dion and watching Dave Matthews and U2 just practice right in front of me at the Grammys. And I wonder, like, I was doing the same thing I've done my whole life. You know, I went to a competition, I skated, and I came back. But suddenly, everything was different. Suddenly, I had a pass to go to all the things that I'd watched on TV and things that, you know, other kids in my school thought was very cool. So what was different about the Olympics? And it's because the 6 Americans before me, the 6 American figure skaters who won the Olympic gold, had changed the way that we had thought about the sport. It was, the first 2 aren't as known because the Olympics weren't on TV, but then it was Peggy Fleming and Dorothy Hamill and Christy Yamaguchi and Tara Lipinski. And people don't have to know about skating to know at least 1 or 2 of those names. And it's because of them that when the figure skating was on at the Olympics that most people just turned it on to say, maybe who's going to be the next one? Who will be the next Christy Yamaguchi or Dorothy Hamill? And just wondering, and that's why. They didn't have to follow every single competition just to flick it on. And I said, you know what, I'm going to write a book about these 6 women before me so that it would make sense to me to know why it was different when I won than when the first woman won in 1956. She didn't get to do all the cool things that I got to do. And the first woman actually was one of the most interesting, and had always been a role model of mine because right after she won Olympic silver in 1952, and then she won gold 4 years later. She went to Radcliffe, which is now Harvard, but they had a separate school for women. And then she was one of 5 women at Harvard Medical School. In the class of 135 people, she was one of 5 women. So this is the book that I had just written. It's a profile of them, but you get to see how much society has changed and how much sports have changed. So going back to your original question, what did I think when I was your age? I just wanted to make sure that I knew that what I did would have more meaning if I can make sure that more people were given the same opportunities that I had.
And I'm going to keep mine short. Because
Sorry, was that too
no,
long?
No, because I'm going to have to catch a plane, but
Okay.
I'll end.
I need to leave with you though. I don't want to
Oh,
miss my
Oh,
too.
so,
Okay.
but what she's saying is, I like to think about what other people did, and as you get older, you get a little bit more introspective. It's not always about you, it's about, like I said, what you leave behind for others. And I think it was Maya Angelou who says, don't go through life with 2 mitts. You have to throw something back. So as we get older, so I take Sarah's book, she's throwing something back. She's revering the history of the game. She's not just going, let me tell you how great I am. She's saying, hey, thank you, man, for setting the plate for me, because this gave me an opportunity to do what I did. So when you're an older athlete, how old are you?
I'm 27.
Okay, she's 27, I'm 53. For me to hear this from a younger athlete who's so accomplished, it just does my heart, really, it makes me happy to hear her care so much about the history of the sport.
You know what was very important to me when I was your age was that I knew that I could skate, and I knew that it made me happy, but I knew going forward, I had seen enough that I knew I needed to be educated. That was a big thing for me. And the other people that I was around, or in my place, weren't educated. And I thought, you know what, in order to serve people and to be able to throw something back, I need to be very disciplined and hardworking. You said you're motivated and you love school, right? I knew I needed to continue on this path and not be distracted if I wanted to be able to do something. I write figure skating articles all the time, or sports articles, or women's issue stuff. And writing those is, I can do those very quickly because I went to college and I graduated and I learned how to do that there. But writing a book is something that I only, it's combining all the things that I've learned. The experiences that I went to, I was able to learn how to think about it, articulate it, and then write it myself. Because I knew somebody else was going to be editing it and doing it, but I didn't want someone else writing it. And a lot of what you will see from public figures or celebrities, other people have done. And I knew I wanted to be able to express how I feel. So when I was here, I said, what can I do to be in control of myself, my message? Which goes back to everything that you said in the beginning.
And so, if it's okay, if we close, I was here 2 years ago at the White House and met President Obama for the first time. I had my son with me. And the coolest thing is that we had never met, but he looked at me and he shook my hand and he was like yanking me over here because this basketball thing was a connection and it was a safe place for both of us. Matter of fact, it was the day of the BP press conference where the tank, it was
the oil spill.
and he was just being hammered by the media. And then there's all these, congressmen and as people that from the Hill, but our handshake was safe. It was an amazing experience. And he came over and he says, come talk to me. And he goes, I know you're coaching guys. He goes, I know I'm black and I know I'm the president of the United States, but I have to make things normal. He goes, you know you're a woman, you know you're coaching men, but you have to make it normal. I don't care if you're black, white, blue, Christian, Jews, Asian, we make things normal. Is that our pact before we leave today? No excuses, no explanations. Because if you're explaining your excuse, you don't have accountability. So whatever we do going forward, you can't say, well, they wouldn't let me do it because I was black. They wouldn't let me do it because I was a girl. They didn't let me do it because I'm Jewish. They wouldn't let me do it because we don't have any excuses. We do what we do. okay? Like I tell my guys in the huddle, do what you do. Don't listen to all those other voices that tell you what you can't be, because you're living what you can be. Is that fair? So let's put our hands up. All right. Coach, what do you got for us?
I think respect yourself and respect others. What was it? Respect yourself.
Fear no one, respect